Hi, in this video I will demonstrate the implementation of load balancer to redirect traffic to checkbox.io instances, as well as I will also demonstrate the way we are doing the Canary release for checkbox.io and how we are routing a percentage of traffic to the newly staged version and the remaining traffic to stable version of the software. In addition, we will also show you the way how we are stopping the routing to Canary server if an alert is being raised. To start with, we have three different production servers for checkbox here, and of the three we have checkbox underscore prod underscore canary here, which is used to do Canary release. Thus this server will have the newly staged version of the software, while the other two production servers will have the old stable version. To start with, let's have a look at the code for the simple load balancer. So this is a Node.js Express application that we have implemented here, and this is used to read a file at home vagrant server IP. This file stores all the IP addresses of the checkbox.io production instances, and whenever a request is made to this application, it randomly selects a IP address from the list and then redirects the traffic into it. So now let's run it, and before that let's have a look at the server file. So we can see that all the three production servers are listed here. So now this application is up and running at port 3000. As you can see that we can access the checkbox.io application here, and the preview is available here, so the APIs are also working fine. If we see at the logs, we can see that the redirection is done randomly to all the three servers. So this is how the load balancing is working for checkbox.io. Now let's have a look at the Canary release. For the Canary release, we have configured a new job in the Jenkins server. If we look at the configuration, we can see that this job triggers a Ansible playbook, and when we look at this Ansible playbook here, we can see that this is a deployment playbook, and this deployment is only done for the Canary server. Now let's have a look at the Canary load balancing code. In this code, again we have a Node.js Express application, and it reads two different files, stable server IP and new server IP. The stable server IP stores all the stable production servers, and the new server IP stores the Canary released newly staged version of the software. So we trigger a Canary release from the Jenkins server, and I have already triggered a job, so we can have a look at the output. So this does a simple deployment, and now the newly staged version is deployed at a IP address that is ending with 61. I should also mention how we are dealing with the alerts in case of Canary release. So we have an interval set here, and for every 2 seconds it sends a request to the newly staged version of the software, and if this interval finds an error, then it raises an alert, and whenever this alert is true, we always redirect our traffic into the stable versions. We can also see how we are dividing the traffic between the stable and newly released version of the checkbox.io application. So we have a probability of 20% set that this logic will go into this area of code where the request is being sent to the newly staged version of the software, and 80% chances that this is sent to the stable servers. Now let's run this code. Now the application is up at port 3000. We can see that we are reading two different arrays. The first array stores the stable version of the software IP addresses, and the second array stores the newly staged version. We can also see that every 2 seconds we have a timer triggered here. It sends a request to the Canary release server to see if the server is working fine or not. So now let's access this IP address. We can see that this application is up here, and we can access all the functionalities that are present in this application. If we look at the logs now, we can see that this traffic is being redirected to the servers, and this server IP address ending with 61 is a Canary release, so the redirection is somewhat rare for this server. Now that the Canary redirection is working fine with the probability that we have set, let's see how this load balancing behaves whenever there is a failure in the newly staged version instance. So we can just stop this instance from AWS and see how things work out. Whenever we are stopping this instance here, so the requests that are being sent to this is not satisfied anymore, so we can see that error is encountered and an alert has been received. So whenever there is, before that we had the alert value as false here, and the redirection is done to all the servers that are newly released as well as stable. Now let's access the code. From the logs, we can now see that the redirection is only done to the stable IP addresses, and the Canary server is not accessed anymore. Otherwise, we could have never successfully accessed the application here. So this is how the Canary release works.